For the first time in a decade, the Kee High baseball program is heading back to the state tournament. Kee High defeated Northwood Kensett on Tuesday night in the sub-state final. And here to preview the state tournament with us is head coach Jim Mauss. And coach, overall, what's made this a special, successful group for you?
Oh, I think how long they've been together. They started together in the New Albin Park and Rec program since they were, I think, 4 or 5 years old, and they've been together ever since. And I think that team chemistry and the way they bond, play together has really shown all that experience and all the the hundreds of games that they play together.
Sounds like a repeated history of many successful Kee High baseball teams over the years. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it is. I think there was probably a little gap in the stability of our youth programs, though, in Lansing and New Albin, and having Jeff and Melissa Cota run the program, for about a decade now, maybe a little bit longer, has brought stability to it instead of having a revolving door. I mean that's what you need. Coach Schultz always said it too. It's not just me. It's our youth program. It's our community. It's our parents. It's our school system. And having that stability at that lower level has been a huge impact for us.
And it's the program's 20th trip to a state tournament, but the first trip since 2011. I know it's your first trip as a head coach to the state tournament. How good did it feel to get Kee High baseball back to its proper summer home, if you will?
Yeah, I know we've been close the last couple years, and our big junior class were freshmen and sophomores, and you can really see that they're bigger, they're stronger. Another year, and their attitude and demeanor was just a little bit different this year. They were really, really, really hungry. They knew we had it. They knew we had the talent to do it. And they were just determined and focused and just ready to go this year. And that, it showed on the field. We've played a full schedule, a challenging schedule. We've had some overnight trips. Our team chemistry is great, and we're clicking at the right time. I'm just really happy for the kids. And like I said, everybody involved, because it's not just me, it's not just the kids, it's everybody involved. It's just a great feeling for our small communities.
And when you look back at your postseason run, you ended up playing Northwood Kensett in the sub-state final. Probably a surprise to a lot of people as they pulled the upset of Mason City Newman. From the outside looking in, sometimes when you don't have to face a team like Mason City Newman, that perhaps lets a team to or gives the team the opportunity to let their guard down. But you jumped on the Vikings right away and ended up making it a short victory on a Tuesday night. How were you able to keep your team's focus, knowing the fact that it wasn't the opponent you probably expected, but you still had a job to do?
Yeah, we did. And tell you the truth, we did not take Northwood lightly. They were in our Shooky Fink tournament early in the year. And the Tasker kid for Northwood that had success against Newman in the district championship pitched against us in the Shooky. So we saw him and we knew he wasn't going to be available. But we also knew that they had some big boppers in their lineup. And those 4 guys actually had 15 home runs and 45 RBIs in the previous 8 games. So we knew that we could not have a bunch of walks in front of those guys. We couldn't kick the ball around. We were really well prepared. And I think Tyson Cota did a great job on the mound eliminating those free passes and just attacking before those guys came up. So if they did get a hold of one, it was a one run shot instead of a 3 or 4 like they got against Newman.
And it also goes to show, especially in postseason baseball, when you get a lead, it is so important, especially with the team that probably had a lot of confidence going into a game like that. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's huge. Postseason too, free passes and the errors will just kill you, and they're game changers. So we knew if we avoided that, we would be in good shape. And to Northwood's credit, they were very senior dominant. And feeling really good, playing really good. Their upperclassmen stepped up for them at the right time, so you got to give them credit. But Newman helped them out with some walks, and they took advantage.
And going back to your district final, you guys in Southwind have played some tremendously entertaining games over the last few years. And really, you played 4 close competitive games this year. You were able to get it done against a very good Warrior team in the district final. What got it done for you to move on to a sub-state final against a quality opponent?
Yeah, I think putting the ball in play against Luzum was huge, and I think if you have underclassmen, that's a difficult thing to do because he's such a great pitcher and he's had a lot of success in the Upper Iowa Conference and against us. So we were well prepared. We faced him I don't know how many times. That doesn't make it any easier, I don't think, but I think that experience does have a little piece. It benefits you a little in little ways. So, I mean, we put the ball in play. And if you look back 2 years ago, we went into extra innings in the playoffs. We walked the leadoff guy in the 8th inning, and then they bunt and we throw it away and they win the game. And very, very similar on Saturday night. We put the ball in play with 2 outs. They get the force out at home and then, throw it away and we get 2 runs on an error. So that's what you have to do, is take advantage of mistakes and not make mistakes when it comes to playoff time, especially against a very good opponent, a great opponent, and very well coached Southwind team.
Another sign that your district was pretty darn good. Wapsie Valley was a pretty darn good baseball team, and they were a 4 seed in your district, and you ended up playing them in the district semifinal. They knocked you off a couple of weeks back, and granted, it was on one of those off nights between conference dates, so sometimes you take those results with a grain of salt, but obviously the Warriors were able to swing it pretty well. What got it done against Wapsie Valley in that district semifinal?
Yeah, that's a very tough second round matchup, and Coach Jenkins does a great job with Wapsie as well. They're very athletic, they're quick, and they always hit the ball well, kind of like he did back in the day. But yeah, Sauerbrei, we knew his numbers were not as good as he is. So he brought it. Very challenging pitcher, kept us off balance. He throws hard and he pounded the strike zone. We had to earn that one. I think we scored on a sacrifice fly, 2 out squeeze bunt and a sacrifice fly. So, and I don't know what else to say. Our pitching and defense kind of held up for us, and we did just enough with the sticks to pull that one out. And I think a win like that prepared us for Southwind. So I think maybe playing that tough game in the second round was a benefit to the team.
You've won 8 straight ball games, seemingly from a result perspective. You're playing some of your best baseball of the season at the right time. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think anytime you give up 6 runs in 8 games, you're doing some things right. Yeah, we talked about it all year with the guys last year with the short season, and everybody had the short season, so really no excuses. And plus, I don't really care for excuses myself, but we were in high pitch counts every single game, every batter. We did not win the 2-2 battle. As a pitching staff, you gotta win that count. And we talked about it. It's like on the 2-2 counts as a pitching staff, we have to challenge, we have to win that count and stay out of that full count. And I just think night and day difference last year to this year, and I think that's why we're having so much success. Our pitchers are just attacking more, and it keeps your defense in the game, and we work on defense all the time. It's our bread and butter, and you can't play defense if you're walking everybody. So I think that's been the difference from last year to this year.
You've gotten to the state tournament. Obviously, it's something to celebrate, something to be happy about. But now you got a state tournament game to prepare for. Talk about the transition. How do you get your team from appreciating what you did in getting to a state tournament to shifting the mode to work to be done mode?
Yeah, we celebrated Tuesday night afterwards, and reflected a little bit before practice yesterday, and now it's just back to business. Tonight will be our full focus will be on getting to state and winning that first game on Monday against a very good opponent, New London opponent. So our focus will be there. I'm not worried about the guys at all. I know our coaching staff is ready to go. We're prepared, and the guys want this. So when you got a team that's focused and hungry, it takes a lot of pressure off you as a coach.
And New London is going to be your opponent. And baseball is kind of an interesting game because sometimes it's difficult to get information. You've got varsity bound and everything like that with the statistical end of things, but statistics only take you so far in the game of baseball. How do you go about gathering information on an opponent that perhaps you're unfamiliar with?
Yeah, I think that's why it is nice. And I probably early in my career, I didn't do a great job of this, because I was focusing on my program and I didn't really like to reach out. But I've been around long enough where you start to do that. You start to build relationships with other coaches. And I think that's where it benefits you in a situation like this. You can reach out to somebody that's seen them, maybe multiple guys that have seen them, and get some information because Varsity Bound is not going to tell you everything. And stats against one team don't really necessarily mean that they're going to benefit you or work out in, for your game. So they only go so far. So it's nice to build those relationships with other coaches and get some information on them. And that's what we plan on doing. But I'm also a firm believer that we need to focus on us because that's way more important than the scouting report for the other team.
And it's going to be interesting, the different state schedule here for Class 1A teams with the tournament being held in Carroll this year. And to me, it's one of the things that makes coaching baseball so interesting. You got to focus on the one game, but you also have to have that big picture viewpoint. Normally for Class 1A teams, they would play either on Friday or Saturday and not have to play again till the next Thursday. So the pitch count rule wouldn't be that big of a deal for you. Now you look at it, you play on Monday, and if you win, you'll play on Wednesday and Thursday. How much of the focus from your perspective has to be obviously on winning that first game, but how much do you have to have at least the big picture in the back of your mind when it comes to managing the pitching staff?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I Tuesday night already had kind of a plan in my mind how we were going to go, and then the seating meeting happens yesterday, and we find out we're playing New London, and I pretty much squashed what I thought about Tuesday night for our plan and our rotation, because who you do play, plays a huge factor, and you do have to win that one game. So you have to have a long-term plan, but it can't supersede the win on Monday to get there. So it is difficult to plan for that, but I also believe that we have some depth in our pitching staff, and I think we're probably sitting better than some of the other teams. But you have to focus and win that first game, and that's what our goal is right now. I understand that we have depth, so I feel good if we go and really focus on getting game one. I trust the next 3-4 guys in our rotation to get the job done.
All right, Coach, we appreciate you taking some time to preview the state tournament with us. Good to have the Kee Hawks back at, I guess, their summer home, if you will, for the 20th time in program history. Heading down to Carroll next week. We definitely wish you best of luck, and hopefully that current 8-game winning streak can become an 11-game winning streak, and you can take a tall trophy back to Northeast Iowa. Best of luck to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Jim Mauss, the head coach of the Kee High baseball team, back at state for the first time since 2011.